Hey tribe, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. Welcome back to my tiny RV kitchen. So, this is kind of interesting. I started off to do one thing and now I'm doing something else entirely, all while I really need to be doing a third thing that hopefully I'm going to get to before too long. But you're going to see two things in this video, what I started off to do and what I ended up doing. What on earth is that? Well, I guess you're going to have to wait until we roll the intro to find out. Yeah, my hair looks a mess today. But I digress, as I do so frequently. First of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all my channel members. Stay tuned all the way to the end, and you can see a list of channel members there. Someplace on the screen here, it's going to pop up where you can scan the QR code to join for as little as 99 cents a month. If you want to support us in other ways, look at the links in the list down below. There's a lot of stuff you can do that doesn't cost you anything, but does help to support us, as well as things that do cost you something and also help to support us as we continue making videos for you. All right, without further ado, let's roll the intro, because I can't wait to show you what I got going on.
Wake up with the sun in our eyes. Sally forth, no need for goodbyes. Journey calls, let's roll the dice. Every mile a new surprise.
This is the second thing that I set out to do today, and it's the first thing that I'm going to share with you. As I was pulling things out of the drawer, I'm thinking, I really kind of feel like waffles. But one of the things that I know for sure is that the way that I prefer to make waffles, which is from scratch, with high quality ingredients, no junk, no preservatives, none of that stuff, well, it involves a fair number of ingredients. So I thought, what if I make a dry mix? So what we're going to do first thing today is these are the ingredients that I'm planning to use in order to be able to make a dry mix. And I'm going to actually put the macros in the video for you as well. There'll be a link to a PDF that you can download if you want to. So a lot of these viral recipes that people do include using conventional whey protein powder. I don't use conventional whey protein powder. I don't think it's good for you. I don't think it's a good choice. And so instead, I use this Vital Proteins collagen peptides. So any kind of collagen peptides are going to be pretty good for you overall, and it does count towards your protein goal. In fact, the way that I use it most frequently, I put it in my coffee. Yeah, kind of weird. It has no flavor whatsoever. It doesn't change the texture, and I'm getting 10 grams of protein in a cup of coffee that way, which I'm taking a sip of right now. So that's pretty cool. All right, here's what's going to go into our dry mix. We're going to use high protein oats. And I don't understand how they make these protein oats, because when you look at the package and you look at the ingredients, focus. Come on, focus. Ingredients. Oats. That's all. That's the only ingredient that's in there. So it's no different than the ingredients on any other oat package, but it does have higher protein. I don't get it. And it's good for fiber. I have dry milk. I always keep dry milk on hand because I don't drink milk, and there are just a few things that it needs to be in. And honestly, I think waffles or pancakes is one of those things. So those three, and then we're going to add some flaxseed. We've got some all-purpose flour in the middle here, and we're going to add some chia seeds. We need baking powder to make it a little bit fluffy. We're going to use a little cinnamon for flavor and a little salt for flavor as well. Those are the basic dry ingredients. So I'm doing this the first time as an experiment to make sure I've got the recipe that I want. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to batch it up to be able to store it for future use, already all mixed up, so you don't have to go through mixing all this stuff together every time you want to make a high protein waffle. And honestly, part of the reason I'm doing this is I'm running out of eggs. And I designed this so that I can use wet ingredients that could be, if I've got it all on hand, Greek yogurt plus an egg. Or if I don't have eggs, I can do just Greek yogurt and a little bit of water if I need to. If I don't have Greek yogurt or eggs, I can do it just with water and add a little oil. So pretty interesting to be able to have the flexibility, and I thought this was a great way to be able to focus on kind of meal prep long-term in a tiny RV kitchen. All right, we got a new view here for a change. We don't usually do this. We are going to start off with making oat flour. And you'll notice I've got a container sitting on a scale because you can weigh things or you can measure things. And so we are set to grams. Gotta find my oats. And we're going to, for the single version, I'm not going to give you all the measurements for the single, well, I guess I will actually, because you can do single if you want to. We're going to make 20 g of oat flour. So I'm just pouring in, oops, 23. Let's put just a tiny bit back. One of the things that I like about doing it on a scale like this, it's 20.5, that's close enough, is that you can just zero out the scale and keep going. Now, I need to turn this into flour. So let's get out the blender. Slightly less prepared than I usually am here, guys. Sorry about that. And you're not going to get a great view of the blender from that angle, but hey, other than that, how do you like this angle? Bring the blender over here. I think this will be okay. Hopefully it'll be okay. We're going to find out together. What I'm trying to do here, guys, is give you a better angle than we've typically had before. And you know what? I'm going to add just a little bit more. Because here's the thing. If I don't like the outcome, well, we're back to 20. I guess it's okay. But if I don't like the outcome, I can always add a little more water or whatever to get the consistency that I want. And one of the reasons I decided to do this as a dry mix is that it's not going to matter if it's not super precise. So we're going to pulse. Stand by. I got to turn the inverter on. Yeah, it's very strange when I plug it in and I hit the button and nothing happens. Yeah. So here's how you make oat flour, guys. Just like that. And we are done. All right, so we're going to take that off. Knock it off of the blades. And all over the place. And as you can see, we lost half a gram in that process. No big deal. All right, that's the hardest part of this whole thing, is making the oat flour. Now, you can also buy oat flour if you want. And honestly, you don't have to use oat flour at all. You could just use, plain old white flour. But I happen to like oats, and I think I like the fiber, and I like the little extra protein, and so on and so forth. All right, and then we need 2 tablespoons of unbleached flour, which is this stuff right here. Can't wait to get the pantry reorganization done. And I am actually going to use a tablespoon here, because I don't know what the true measurement is that I'm looking for in this context. So I'm going to fluff my flour up a little bit using the spoon. Oh, that's interesting. I think something came off the edge of the blender blades. A little dried, whatever. All right, there's 1 tablespoon. There's over 2 tablespoons, actually. And next, we're going to add a tablespoon of milk powder. And this, by the way, guys, by putting the milk powder in, is one of the ways that you can make sure that you're going to get the kind of, I'm going to say, crumb that you want, as if you were baking. So I'm using Great Value whole milk powder, and I keep this stuff around forever because it doesn't ever go bad. And it's really convenient to have on hand for things like this. So a tablespoon of milk powder. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of collagen peptides. This is the other thing that I'll say about the collagen peptides. I'm not getting them out of there because they're actually in a jar, since they go in my coffee every morning. So we got a tablespoon of collagen peptides, and so far you can see we're basically adding a whole bunch of white stuff to a container. Now you can add coconut sugar or maple sugar. I'm not putting any sugar in because I like to put syrup on my pancakes, and I don't feel like my batter needs any, pancakes and waffles, I don't feel like the batter needs any extra syrup or sweetener because of that. But we do need a half a teaspoon of baking powder. So let's get that in there. So here's a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And we're going to add a pinch of salt. And a pinch of salt is exactly that. It's how much you can pinch between two fingers, basically. So right here, that was a pretty small pinch actually. I'm going to do 2 pinches because I do like salt. And even if you're doing something sweet, adding a pinch of salt brings out the sweetness, so that's kind of good to know. And we want a pinch of cinnamon, except I like a lot of cinnamon, so I'm going to be very generous with it, just about like that. And that's the dry mix. This is for a single serving. All right, we're going to get the wet ingredients together, and then we'll come back and show you what that looks like. All right, I take it back. I forgot 2 things that are really important to me, which are flaxseed and chia seeds. So we're going to add a half a teaspoon of chia seeds, and half a teaspoon of flaxseed, and nope, I'm going to keep saying this backwards. A teaspoon of chia seeds and half a teaspoon of flax seeds. Now, some people don't like the texture, and you need ground flax seeds, by the way, don't use whole ones. We can't actually digest those effectively. And some people don't like the texture of chia seeds. It's a-okay to leave them out, but I can tell you, among other things, they have a lot of health benefits. But beyond that, if what you're going to end up doing is using just water, the flax seeds and chia seeds will help to keep your batter nice and thick and crisp up your waffles and so forth. Okay, so now we have all of our dry ingredients done. I'm going to get out the wet ingredients and show you what that looks like. Okay, so now it's time for the wet ingredients. First up, we got an egg. Some of these eggs have been very hard shelled in this batch. Part of the beauty of this recipe for you is going to be, if you don't have eggs, it's okay. If you don't have Greek yogurt, it's okay. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. 1, come on, 2, and we're going to put somewhere between 2 and 3 tablespoons of water in here, because what we're going for are waffles. And keep in mind, I think I need a new cover there. So I put a piece of wax paper over the top of my Greek yogurt. You know how it always comes with a piece covering it? Well, if you push it down like this and push it in so that your yogurt's all even, it doesn't get all watery and disgusting, I've found. I mean, the watery and disgusting thing isn't terrible. You can just, stir that back in. But this way I don't have to. So I've got 3 tablespoons of water here. I'm going to put about 2 in. And then we're going to go ahead and run this through the blender and see if we need more. Okay, I just brought all of the dry ingredients down on top of the wet. Here we go. The only reason I'm running it this long is that I've got a few chia seeds up here. I think I'm probably going to end up getting to them with the spatula because I don't want to just keep running it. It's plenty mixed up enough. Do you need a blender to do this? No, you absolutely do not. You can certainly mix it in a bowl. I just happen to like using my blender. And I'm going to dump all of the detritus off of my scale here. So next up, we need to get out the waffle iron and get that ready to go. Oh, I guess actually before I do that, let's check the batter consistency, but I think we're good. Yep, that looks perfect to me. Now, this is the basic recipe, right? So you can do other kinds of add-ins. You can add things like chocolate chips. You could add cacao powder and make chocolate waffles. You can add more water and make it suitable for pancakes instead of waffles. Actually, this might be closer to pancake batter. And if I were mixing it by hand instead of with the blender, I might have used a little bit less water, but hey, everything's a learning process, right? And that's what this is today. We are learning how to do this so we can do it for future and be ready all the time. All right, I got to clean up a little bit of this mess so I can get out the waffle iron, get that heating up, and then we'll be back with you and show you what this looks like. All right, so we've got the waffle iron heating up. You can't hear it, but I've got turkey bacon frying up because I'm going to have some bacon with my waffles. I get the turkey bacon. It's the brand is Good Shawls at Sam's Club, and it's the best turkey bacon I've ever found, based on the fact that it doesn't list mechanically separated turkey, and the ingredients are pretty minimal, and it's uncured, no nitrates, no nitrites. So I like it a lot. So what happens here is we're waiting for the light down here to turn from blue to white. And once that happens, we will be ready to put in our batter. I'm going to spray it with some olive oil spray, which the waffle maker tells you not to use. It tells you to like brush on oil, but I'm lazy. And so as a result, I often get smoking, and that's okay too. I'm going to turn on my hot water heater because I know I'm going to want hot water to wash this. And I also need to wash some 32-ounce jars to be able to complete the rest of my pantry reconstruction project that I'll be working on later today. So we'll let some water heat up for that. And I think listening to turkey bacon frying is probably a lot like watching paint dry. So we'll get back to you when the waffles are ready to go on. How about that? All right, you can see now that it's fully up to heat, it is smoking a little. In fact, the last time I did this, I ended up having to turn off the smoke alarm, so we'll see what happens this time. All right, so we're going to put a little spray on, make it smoke some more. And then we're going to get our batter here. I'm actually going to throw those chia seeds down in the bottom, and we're just going to pour it on. And I'm really liking the consistency of this. It is just a tiny bit too much for my waffle iron. I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. So when I adjust this recipe, I'm going to basically do like 7.5/8. So that would be 15/16 of the amount that I did. And the reason for that is there's just a little bit left behind here, and that's going to be kind of a mess for me to have to clean up, which I would just as soon not have to do, but I do. And the way that I deal with this is scrape down all the sides, and then I pick one, and I will dump this into my garbage bag, which is pretty full. Not sure if you can see this. Kind of hope you can, because my garbage bag is kind of disgusting. But I get most of it out that way. I'm going to see if I can scrape a little more out. And then I'll add a little water and a couple of sprays of soap. And we put it back onto the blender to actually clean it, which is kind of brilliant. So, scraped out some more. Got a paper towel here. Now I'm wiping off my spoon, spatula, whatever. Get that out of the way. And I'm going to wipe off the blade assembly. Yeah, that was too much. It's actually spilling over onto the counter from the waffle iron. Oops. So I think 15/16 is probably the right call. We'll find out. Bacon's all done. How good does that look? Yeah, baby. Okay, we got 3 minutes to go on the waffles. Probably a little bit longer, but we'll see. I'm going to see if I can wipe up the mess I just made on the front of the waffle iron without burning myself. Ish. Wiping it up-ish. Yeah, I got a little mess to have to clean up there. Oh well. Oh well. We'll take care of that when it's time to take care of that. Keep an eye on that for me. Thanks, I appreciate it. Bacon's looking good. I'm pretty excited about this, guys. Hope you are too. So, a couple of squirts of soap. Need a little more water than that. And I'm going to just give this a shake for right now, because I'm going to do all the dishes at one time after I'm done eating. I do need to get out a plate. Here we go. I'm really curious what you guys think about this overhead angle. I'm hoping you like it. I'll tell you, for me, it actually makes it easier because I don't have a camera on the counter. And since the counter is so tiny, that's a blessing. Yeah, I can't touch that. Yeah, I got most of the mess off the counter. Oh well. I don't know, I'm pretty excited about this, guys. But we still got a little bit of time to go, so I won't make you watch the whole thing. All right, we've just gone for 5 minutes. Let's take a quick look and see how they look. Ooh, that's looking pretty daggone good, guys. I think we're almost done. I'm going to go 1 more minute because I like them extra brown and crispy. So stand by. We'll get right back with you. All right, I'm going to call this a success. And I'm going to eat my breakfast. And then I'm going to get into the big batch making for you so you can see how that process works. It's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to upsize the ingredients. And then we'll be ready to go. And I'll show you how I'm going to be packaging it and all that kind of stuff.